folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. The road's a little rough and it's washboarded and the camera's going to do this, but we'll be okay. We'll get through it, okay? I talk about on here all the time, pretty much every day, telling you folks to get your houses in order, get ready. And I do that not just because, well, it's a nice little slogan to say that, you know, everybody remembers me by, but that's my little saying. No, it's because it's real. It's time to get ready, folks. The things that have been happening over the last few years are all building up to a time that we're going to look back at some point and see how much has gone. I mean, we're already really in that place where the things that have changed just in the last few years have been quite a bit. And unfortunately, there's so many people out there in the world, the vast majority of the world, they're walking around with blinders on. And whether it's because they choose to be that way or whatever, it doesn't even matter at this point. But they're walking around with blinders. And the only thing that they see in their life, the only things that they're focused on is, you know, going to work, you know, getting home, paying bills, taking care of kids, cleaning the house, you know, maybe watch a game here and there. That's all that they're focused on. And they have really turned a blind eye to the things that are happening in the world. And the worsening of how things are. You know, looking ahead just for this year, the likelihood that some of these pretty major events, you know, wars, World War III, our greater involvement in wars, you know, central bank digital currencies, collapse of dollar, you know, more inflation, higher food prices, more food problems. All of those things are much more pronounced this year. We see that it's getting worse. And we have to start really buckling down. We have to take life seriously and take this seriously. The people that are kind of running this show, okay? You know who I'm talking about. I don't have to give the details, you know, the Davos crowd. In fact, I think they've started their meeting up, or they're getting ready to for this year. You know, they're the ones that's trying to pull the strings, you know, controlling, you know, corporations and in control of all these other institutions, non-government organizations, governments, everything, you know, banks, central banks, the ones that really are the movers and shakers of this world. They have a plan. They have a plan to make drastic global changes. And the dates for that plan are coming up soon, folks. You know, we were talking about this Agenda 2030 3 or 4 years ago on this channel. We're talking about the Great Reset as soon as they started talking about it in 2020. And here we are 3 and 4 years later, and we're getting closer and closer to some of the key dates that they have set aside if you read into their plans. And you know, one of the first big key dates is 2025. There's a lot that they have that they want to have implemented by that time. We're you know, 2 years, less than 2 years now from that date. So we're going to start seeing, I believe, a big uptick in a lot of these green, you know, policies. The odds are between now and 2025, we're probably going to have another health crisis. There could be a environmental health crisis, or whatever they want to, you know, environmental lockdowns. The push for this ever increasing intrusive technology into our lives is just, it's growing at rates that I think it's so fast and so much that the average person just can't even take it all in. You know, they're not even aware of how much is going on. And for those of you that are aware of this, that are at least, you may not know everything, you may not understand everything, you may not be able to keep on top of everything because it's too much. I can't keep on top of everything. I don't know that anyone really, really could on their own without help. It's like you'd have to have a whole staff of people to stay on top of all the stuff that's going on. But you're trying and you're aware. Now is the time. I mean, we're past it, but if nothing else, now is the time to really start buckling down, getting serious with your plans of what you're going to do. And this is no offense to anyone, but I get emails from people that are like, yeah, our plan is to sell our house and move on to a homestead and, retire in 2029 or 2026 or 2027. They have all these ideas of what they're gonna be doing, and it's years down the road. And I'm not telling you that you can't do those things years down the road. I'm not telling you that there's no chance of that. It's possible. I'm just telling you it's risky. And I'm not trying to be a wet blanket on anyone. What I am trying to tell you is that you need to start getting serious. Whatever it is in your preparations, whatever your plans are, and I know every one of you are probably going to say, man, I've got lots of plans, I just don't have all the money to do those plans. I get that. I mean, I have the plans of what I know I can do, and then I have the plans of what I would do if I had the money. Just keep pushing forward. If you win the lottery tomorrow, you can alter your plans, but you got to start doing the best that you can, getting your family ready, getting yourself psychologically ready. I think that's going to be a major problem with a lot of people. Is as much as we tell ourselves that we're ready, you're not. Was talking to some of my buddies that are former military and former law enforcement. We were all talking about your first firefight, your first fight, your first high tense situation that you've been in, whether in combat or on the streets, and you train and you train and you train for however long up until that point. And most all of that training is to prepare yourself for that moment that the bad guy pulls a gun on you, or the bad guys are shooting at you, or there's mortars going off, or whatever it is. You're preparing for that. And almost every time, just about everyone you talk to that's gone through that, they'll tell you the first time that it happened, they were blown away. Like they almost didn't know what to do. They didn't necessarily freeze. That does happen, but they didn't necessarily freeze. It was so overwhelming. They were like, this is way more than what I thought. I wasn't prepared for this, is what most of them will tell you, their very first time. And that's going to happen. And you have to put that in your plans, that if you wake up tomorrow and find out the US dollar's completely collapsed, or that hyperinflation is rapidly increasing, over the next days and weeks, that, within a short period of time, the dollar's hyperinflated, or a nuclear bomb went off, or that we attacked, or someone else attacked us, in a major way that just immediately propels us into World War III or something like that, or an EMP, whatever the scenario is. You're going to need to factor in that that's going to shock you, that's going to set you back, that no matter how prepared you are, you're going to be like, oh my goodness, I don't think I got ready for this. I don't think I'm ready. I've still got all the stuff that I need to do. I haven't got my solar system in. I haven't got my rain collection system in. I'm still, acquiring this and building that, and I'm just not ready. Well, it's always going to be that way. And so you have to factor in that in your preparations, getting ready for that shell shock. because odds are it's going to happen. There's so much buildup, and I think that the vast majority of Americans are still in that hangover state, I guess, from holidays. You know, we're just recently out of that, and so many people get very involved in that, and it's a big part of their year. And so I think that there's still a kind of a hangover stage in that way. But there's a lot of things happening, and a lot of those things that are happening are pretty rough, bad, and could take us into a really bad direction. And it's time to get ready. It's time to take it serious and buckle down. Maybe you've never had any combat training, maybe you've never gone to war or anything like that, but you need to kind of start thinking that way, because what we are probably going to be witnessing and experiencing in the coming weeks and months could be very much like going to war, and we need to be ready for that. We need to get our minds ready for that. I mean, you prepare physically all the time, whether it's acquiring things or the training or developing skills. All that's good, it's important. But you've got to get your mind up here ready for that day. And it may not be one singular moment that just kind of blows up in our face, so to speak. But it's definitely happening. It's time to get ready. It's time to get yourself in that mindset, your family in that mindset, because it is happening. And there's so many things going on right now. The odds of any one of them being the thing that kind of pushes us over the edge are pretty good. So whatever you do with your life on a daily basis, I strongly encourage you to be getting yourselves in that mental state of readiness, getting yourself psychologically prepared for the rapid, massive changes that are most likely going to happen in our world over the coming months and couple of years. Folks, it's time to get your houses in order. It's time to prepare mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thank you for watching. Catch you in the next video.